In the year 2006, Satoru Fujinuma is a 29-year-old struggling mangaka in Chiba who occasionally experiences a phenomenon he calls revival. When a fatal incident is about to occur near him, he is sent a few minutes back in time to prevent it. He uses this to save a boy from a runaway truck, though he is hospitalized for a few days as a result. As he recovers, his co-worker, Eri Katagiri, praises him for his life-saving efforts. Later, he is visited by his mother, Sachiko, who reminds him of an incident that happened 18 years ago in their hometown in Hokkaido. An adult named Jun Shiradori, nicknamed Yuki, whom Satoru had trusted, was arrested for the kidnapping and murder of 3 local children, 2 of which were Satoru's classmates. The next day, as Satoru experiences another revival, Sachiko takes note of a man who seemingly attempted to kidnap a child. Looking into the matter, Sachiko deduces that the man was the true killer from 18 years ago, but before she can inform anyone, she is murdered in Satoru's apartment. Just as Satoru discovers Sachiko's body and is accused of killing her, his revival sends him all the way back to 1988, when he was a 10-year-old elementary school student in Hokkaido. As Satoru becomes bewildered with the situation he has been put in, he finds comfort in being able to see his mother again. Realizing being sent to this period by revival is connected to Sachiko's future murder, Satoru takes notice of Keiō Hinazuki, one of his classmates who were killed by the serial kidnapper, noticing a bruise on her leg. Upon the suggestion of his friend Kenya Kobayashi, Satoru reads an essay written by Keiō, which further hints at her troubled life at home. Wanting to understand Keiō more, Satoru decides to invite her to his birthday party, hoping to change the future so that she will not be killed. During an ice skating race against a classmate, Satoru holds back from winning to avoid inadvertently trying to change the future, angering the classmate and disappointing Keiō. After learning that Keiō's birthday is on the same day as his, March 2nd, Satoru deduces that she will be abducted on March 1st, as the abduction was in March but before her birthday. Satoru spends some time with Yuki, still convinced that he is not the kidnapper. Afterward, Satoru finds Keiō beaten up in her home shed, learning of the full nature of her abusive relationship with her mother, Akemi. The next day, Satoru speaks with his teacher, Gaku Yashiro, who explains how he has suspected Akemi of abuse for almost a year but hasn't been able to find proof to convict her. Later, Satoru stands up for Keiō when she is accused of stealing the class lunch money, before taking her up a mountain to show her a frost-laden Christmas tree. With help from Sachiko, Satoru manages to invite Keiō out with him to the local science center. During the outing, Satoru feels a sense of déjà vu, becoming worried that he's repeating the same things. After March 1st, the day Keiō originally disappeared, passes without incident. Both Satoru and Keiō are able to celebrate their birthday the next day, with Satoru confident he has managed to change history. The following day, however, Satoru is shocked to find Keiō has not come to school. As Satoru becomes angry that he was not able to make a difference about Keiō's disappearance, another schoolgirl goes missing several days later. After witnessing Akemi throw out Keiō's belongings, Satoru suddenly finds himself back in 2006, still under suspicion of Sachiko's murder and forced to go on the run from the police. Satoru soon comes across Eri, who believes him to be innocent and lets him stay at her house, where he learns the details of Keiō's disappearance did change slightly because of his actions. The next day, as Satoru investigates as much as he can, Eri stops her manager from reporting Satoru to the police. Later that night, after helping Satoru hide elsewhere, Eri receives a text from Sachiko's phone before becoming trapped in a house fire. Coming across the burning house, Satoru rushes in to rescue Eri, who slips her phone into his pocket before the manager takes over the rescue. Finding the message left on Eri's phone, Satoru calls a number that Sachiko had left behind, arranging a meeting with a journalist acquaintance of hers named Sawada. Sawada tells Satoru about the last phone call he received from Sachiko, in which she claimed to know who the true kidnapper was but was unable to tell him before she was killed. He also explains the reported details surrounding Keiō's death, noticing Yuki's framing matches with another kidnapping incident in a nearby town and deducing the true kidnapper was the one who killed Sachiko. While Satoru looks up Sawada's findings on the kidnapping incident, including a list of previous suspects, Sawada goes to the hospital to meet with Eri, only to discover that her mother has swapped places with her so she can prove Satoru's innocence. Eri meets with Satoru, informing him of a mysterious man named Nishizono who may have been responsible for the fire, but the police arrive and arrest Satoru. As he is taken away, Satoru spots the man he saw leaving his apartment on the night of Sachiko's murder. Determined not to let things end the way it is, Satoru successfully triggers his revival through sheer willpower, returning him to February 28, 1988. During school the next day, Kenya confronts Satoru about Keiō's situation at home, admitting that he has known for a while now about the domestic violence, and offers his assistance. Following the birthday party on March 2nd, Satoru throws a rock through Yuki's window to bring about the police, providing Yuki with an alibi for his whereabouts. Afterward, Satoru seeks out Akemi and comes close to pushing her down some stairs, but is stopped by Kenya, who convinces him to choose a different course of action. Instead, Satoru decides to abduct Ko with her permission, taking her to an abandoned bus to hide out for a few days until she is confirmed to be safe. On the night of March 3rd, however, an unknown intruder enters the bus while Ko is sleeping. Ko manages to hide from the intruder who exits the bus, leaving behind a footprint on a box he kicked. The next evening, as Yashiro goes with some people from the Child Consultation Center to investigate Ko's house, Ko tells Satoru and the others about the previous night's intruder. Looking into a rucksack that was left behind, they find tools that Satoru recognizes as the ones used to implicate Yuki for Ko's murder, as well as a briquette presumed to belong to the killer. Realizing he is still stuck in the loop of abduction murders, Satoru takes Ko to spend the night at his house, where Sachiko had been expecting them. The next day, Ko has her first home-cooked breakfast in her life, leading her to start crying. Satoru and Sachiko later accompany Ko back to her house to confront Akemi. As Akemi reacts violently to the accusations of Satoru and Sachiko, she is caught red-handed by Yashiro and the consultants, who suggest that Ko be taken into custody. Just as Akemi prepares to storm off to the police, she is approached by her estranged mother, who regrets not being able to support her after having her divorce her abusive husband and raise Ko on her own, leading Akemi to lament her own actions. With Ko going off to live with her grandmother, Satoru turns his attention towards the other two potential victims, Hiromi Sugita, his classmate, and Aya Nakanishi, a student from the neighboring school. While keeping a watch on both Hiromi and Aya, Satoru discovers a stash of candy in Yashiro's car when being given a ride home by him. Later, Satoru goes with Kenya and Hiromi to inspect the bus, the contents of which have now been removed. Satoru and his friends approach Aya, and despite some initial resistance, she starts joining them at their hideout. Later, Satoru shadows Misato Yanagihara, who is kept to herself since being accused of framing Ko. She seemingly disappears after going to the bathroom. Satoru then notices a truck belonging to Yuki's family leaving the scene and he asks Yashiro to follow it in his car. Along the way, Yashiro reveals himself to be the killer and that he realized that Satoru was the one thwarting his plans. He explains that he used Misato as bait to lure Satoru into the stolen car, which he then rolls into a frozen lake with Satoru trapped inside. Following Yashiro's attempt to kill him, Satoru wakes up in the year 2003 after spending 15 years in a coma. His body continued to grow and his mother cared for him daily. However, he has lost his memories of past events. Satoru is visited by Kenya and Hiromi, as well as Ko, who has become Hiromi's wife and mother to their baby. Some of Satoru's memories begin to return due to his friends' visits. Later, he meets a leukemia patient named Kumi, who is about to undergo surgery, as well as Yashiro himself, who changed his name to Nishizono and became a politician. 2 days before Kumi's surgery, Yashiro takes Satoru to the rooftop, where he confirms Yashiro's suspicions that he has regained his memories. A flashback shows that Satoru's memories returned after the visit from Ko, and he told Kenya and Hiromi that Yashiro was the killer. Back on the rooftop, Yashiro boasts that his past crimes have already passed the statute of limitations and he cannot be arrested. He reveals he has arranged to kill Kumi with a sabotaged IV drip and to frame Satoru for her murder. Yashiro threatens to throw Satoru from the roof and make it look like a suicide. However, Satoru calls Yashiro's bluff, stating that Yashiro can't live without him. This seems true when Yashiro initially stops Satoru from rolling his wheelchair off the roof. However, Yashiro lets Satoru drop and prepares to commit suicide himself. He then discovers that Satoru has been safely caught by his friends, and Yashiro is finally arrested for attempted murder. Several years later, Satoru has become a successful manga artist. One day, Satoru surprisingly encounters Eri under the same bridge where they earlier used to sit, and where he disappeared during his last revival. If you enjoyed this recap, like the video and subscribe with the notification bell turned on so you never miss another upload. Take care and have a wonderful day.